Hi, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at what are your hidden influences. We're looking at the good, we're looking at the bad, and we're looking at the magical. Think of it this way. When an actor is working on a movie or whatever creative project they're doing at that moment, the director will add in little details for that actor. Only they will know. We'll never hear about it in the script, but it helps them better understand their character's motivation. So yes, maybe they're a very happy character, but they know something about their background story that never gets revealed to the public, so they understand, well, why are they a happy person? Basically, we're trying to find out what makes you tick in order to best, use it to your advantage and enjoy it to its fullest. Or if there is something dark going on there, let's give you a break. Let's give you some empathy and sympathy and compassion that you can give to yourself and find some sort of, maybe not be so hard on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Not all traits that are maybe inherently negative are necessarily that bad, and often have a lot of strengths to them. So think about that. Now, as you can see, we have 5 stones in front of us. I want you to pick the crystal that you resonate with most. We have pink opal, leopard skin jasper, pyrite, seafoam calcite, and moonstone. I'm going to give you a moment to do so. And now that you have, you can go down to the description where you can click and skip to your timestamp for your designated group. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1. Let's find out what are your hidden influences by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are 5 of Wands upright, the Sun upright, Wheel of Fortune in reverse, 9 of Cups in reverse, the Moon in reverse, and your last card is the 6 of Pentacles. Wow. You're so brave. Interesting. You're definitely misunderstood. Not to such a degree, I would say that you were defined as an outcast, but I think a lot of people don't truly understand your core intentions, which are very good, by the way. I would definitely sum you up as we have 2 main things going on that I see popping up. We're going to go into details of everything, but I would definitely point out that there's a part of you that's always working towards the greater good, super noble, very selfless, quite prolific, very beautiful trait to have. And then there's a part of you that just wants it to be easy and happy and effortless and dance in the sunshine. And those are 2 opposing concepts that I will point out don't clash often. I think that you can have moments in your life where you just kind of let it all go and you relax and hang out and enjoy the good stuff. And then there's times where you put that to the side and you get into a little bit of confrontation. You say, listen, I want this to be better, and in order to do so, you kind of have to face some uncomfortable stuff, and you're not afraid to do that. So it's good. We don't have like a confrontation thing going on here. But if you ever have a moment where you're like, oh, I don't know why I do this to myself. I'm not quite sure what I want. I feel like I want this, but I also feel like I want this, but then I feel guilty about it. Just understand that's a moment where they're coming together. You're allowed to have both. You can want and obtain both. Nothing wrong with that. Just wanted to put that out there. So let's get started. Over here, I will definitely point out the 5 of Wands. This is one of those traits that can definitely be misunderstood, because this is when somebody is tends to go out of their way to debate with people a little more often than most people are comfortable with. Some people can describe this as a combative trait, but not you. You're not on purpose trying to pick on a fight or anything. Part of you loves doing it because you just love to, talk, and you want somebody else to disagree with you to make the conversation more interesting. Or it's not always about wanting them to disagree. There's just a general love of the art of conversation. But on the other hand, you are not afraid to stand up for others, yourself, and you will not back down if you think that the idea is for the greater good, like we talked about. It's not about you having the ego of having the last word. That's where some people can can misinterpret things. It's you wanting something that's better. And you're not going to just compromise for somebody else's ego. It's more about their ego than yours, if anything. Very lovely trait. Very intense, very aggressive in a positive way. And definitely don't quelch this. I have a feeling people want you because they'll experience you and we'll get to the sun thing in a moment. Here, let me dive into the sun thing and then we'll go back to the Five of Wands in a second. The sun card talks about your core inner drive, like the thing that you want above everything else, your motivation for everything else is you just want to be happy. I know that seems silly and you might say, oh, everyone wants to be happy. No. Many people want money. Many people want love. You just want to feel like you can trust the world around you, can decompress, and, joke around, be silly, be happy. That's your innermost joy. And many people see that side of you, that more lighthearted side of you. But sometimes people want to put others in a box. And when they see this and then they experience this side of you, they want to turn this into a negative thing. It's not. In order to get the things we want and in order to create an environment that's happy and blissful, sometimes you're going to have to say, listen, shut up, my idea is better. And it's very much like that for you. You do not care about petting their ego or coming off across a certain way as long as something important gets done. Very valiant trait. I love that about you. So your innermost core is about being happy. And when we talk about being happy, you go through a lot, and you are not afraid to go through a lot in order to obtain that. There is a lack of fear the way you step forward into uncomfortable situations in order to get to the core of whatever's going to make you happy. So that's a bit flowery. Let me go into this. So with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, this is, first of all, I do want to point out with the Moon and the Wheel of Fortune, we're getting major karmic vibes. Not bad karmic vibes, good karmic vibes. There's a certain subconscious self-awareness you have in this lifetime where you are like, you know what, this is the lifetime that I break cycles. This is the lifetime that I improve. So you'll notice whenever you have this moment where you overcome a fear, you stand up to somebody, or you try something new, it's like this rush. It's this feeling of like, oh my God, I did that. Oh my God, I did that. You are totally starting a new cycle in your, totally blanked on the word. Reincarnation, totally blanked on the word. And this is the lifetime. That's why you're getting such a rush. You're doing something you've never done in the previous lifetimes. It's really beautiful. So there's a lot of like this unexplainable drive of like, I have to do this. I have to do this. This is what I'm meant to do now. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, there's that popping up. But the Wheel of Fortune specifically talks about, in reverse, talks about ending cycles. For a lot of people, that's hard. Sometimes it's just in our nature. We don't mean to be this way. But you have no problem with, what's that line? Breaking the wheel. You have no problem in starting over again or facing uncomfortable flaws or things you don't like about yourself in order to progress. Like I said, very brave, very resilient, and not afraid to go into the unknown. And we're going to get into that in a moment. Nine of Cups is really cute because this is when you are kind of It is a positive omen that you will pretty much get everything that you want in this lifetime. So keep striving for it, keep fighting for it. You're going to get it. All of this intensity is adding up, trust me. But the Nine of Cups in reverse can talk about a little bit of your pickier nature. Like when, it's great, but it's not everything I wanted. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily a bad thing. This is not about you having the difficulty to be fully satisfied. This is because of you wanting, you have goals, you have internal goals. You know what I'm saying? And for you to feel at peace, why settle for less? That's the best way I'd put it. Why settle for less? So you don't try to look for flaws. That's not your nature. Again, misinterpreted. People might see it that way. It's just, well, why not, unlike your peers, question and say, hey, let's say you get in a new apartment or something like that, and there's a bunch of plants, and everything's great, but you just wish that the plants were in white vases. I know it seems stupid to anyone else, they wouldn't think about it, but you're like, listen, I have a vision, and I know if there's white vases, it will make the room look bigger, and then we'll all feel like we're living in a bigger place, and da-da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? That's what's going on here in a really great, positive way. I consider this a very misunderstood trait. Some people are picky, some people would do it out of ego, not you. You understand what it can add up to, so why have anything less? Now here is where we get even more further into the whole greater good concept. I know we've been covering it over and over again over here, but the Moon card in reverse talks about the idea so the Moon card is like when things are like an illusion. Often this covers the idea of like magic and dreams and surreal kind of unexplainable events in life, but also you could say when someone presents themselves, they're presenting a facade. So in reverse, it's like, well, what's behind that mask? What's behind that illusion? And you want to get deeper. Some people can't handle that. They don't want to know the truth. You want to know the truth. You're attracted to mysteries. And again, why do you want to do this? Not just out of pure curiosity, for the greater good. With the Six of Pentacles over here, this talks about your generous nature. It's like you want to learn this stuff, and then you want to share it with others. Because you understand it's better that we all know the truth in order to be like, okay, so now that this is all put out in the open, let's figure this out. How can we all make this work? How can, you want other people to grow and succeed. You want yourself to grow and succeed. You don't want there to be an end in life. That is something Spirit's pointing out to me right now. Sorry, I'm just taking in the information. Yeah. That's so interesting. Sorry, I'm listening to stuff. With the Wheel of Fortune, so that talks about cycle, right? And technically that is infinite, but in a way there's a feeling of like a beginning and an end because of repeating concepts, right? But like you wanting to break the norm and always want to get rid of the wheel, this almost acts as like the illusion is the wall. And as we talked about before, you don't do well with walls. No. You want to go past them. You want to go even further. You never want there to be an end. You want to get deeper into mysteries. You want to face fears. I can't preference this enough. There is just a very strong nature about you that most people, I don't want to say aren't brave enough. I guess that's all I can say. They're not as strong as you are. And it's really beautiful. So definitely, I will point this out. I think you would find a lot of joy in looking into, different things that involve mysteries, whether that be TV shows or cases, or there's a lot of stuff in the surreal community to dive into those type of situations. Why is a place haunted? That kind of thing. Don't be afraid to look into that. I think that's really going to fulfill you on an entertainment level and make you really happy. And I think it's going to expand your mind. You were meant to have your mind expanded, as we talked about over here with the Wheel of Fortune. And that is one of the ways you're going to do it, by Keep looking behind the curtain. More, more, more. Yeah, sorry, I get very lost in powerful feelings, and you definitely have one. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it. Please feel free to leave this video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number two. Let's find out what are your hidden influences by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are 4 of Swords in reverse, 10 of Cups upright, 10 of Wands in reverse. Oh, you're a busy bee. 4 of Cups upright, the Sun card, and your last card is the Star card. Ooh, I'm getting the chills. Can I say this? Yeah. Oh, okay. This is kind of wild. I can see. Sorry, I'm kind of in shock. This is all positive. This is good. This is good. I'm just a little bit in shock right now. Everything from what I can see in the cards says you're going to ascend after this lifetime. Yeah. Wow. Well, that is one of your driving focuses. That is I'm going to be talking about a bunch of other characteristics, but like that is the main point of everything you do. Everything you do, all of your motivation, you were doing exactly what you were meant to do. You were on the right path in life. Wow. Okay. Well, that's really cool. I'm very excited for you, obviously. But I did not anticipate that. So let's get into all of this. Like I said, in the 4 of Swords in reverse and the 10 of Wands in reverse, I can see you are somebody who is quite busy, to say the least. With the 4 of Swords in reverse, this is somebody who tends to overwork themselves. They kind of feel like they're never able to fully take a break. It's never a good time. There's always one more thing you got to get done. You kind of often push yourself to such a brink where you're not getting good sleep or you're exhausted. It's very common for you to be like, oh no, whoops, I forgot to go to lunch again because I was so lost in doing what I needed to do. And you tend to run yourself ragged is the best way I can put it. But over here with the 10 of Wands, we get a more clear answer why that is. You tend to take on a lot of responsibility. This is more than just the ego of sometimes people take on a lot of responsibility out of ego. They want to look like the nice guy, not you. There's kind of like an underlying purpose. You're so focused on making sure things get done, make sure they get done well. You're just always focused on what needs to be done. I will point out this when I get the 10 of Wands in reverse. People do see this and take advantage of it. Those are not your friends. The people who are like, well, will you do this for me? You know, you're such a nice person and I see you working all the time. What is one more thing? They don't care if they overwork you. And honestly, when I get this card, this is the type of stuff they should be doing themselves. They should know better. They're not your friend. If they even try to do this to you, they've shown you their real colors. Kick them out of your life. Because it's okay if you want to overwork yourself because of the purpose you feel you have. You feel like things need to be accomplished. Like I said, you are going to ascend after this lifetime. So you're like it's like being told, hey, you're going to be moving out in a month. And you're like, oh no, I have so much to do. And you're like packing stuff up and you're getting everything filled out. That's basically what's going on with you in this lifetime. So if you always feel like that restless sort of energy to keep going and going and going, that's what's going on there. Now, all of that is surrounded around the 10 of Cups. Now, the 10 of Cups in the Sun card and the Star card, but we're going to mostly focus on these two, both talk about this idea of ascension, this like total understanding, bliss, inner happiness, this deep, profound feeling you're going to experience. And that's going to obviously carry forth, and like you've learned everything you needed to learn basically as like a being. But it also talks about how hard you work for the people you love. Because again, you are understanding the bigger picture of, like that's how you love people. You're like, let me help. You're proactive. That's the best way I want to put it. Now, I do want to point out when I get the 10 of Cups, you are a fantastic partner. You are somebody who finds a lot of happiness sharing their personal success and happiness with building a family, with the ones they love, like this could be a romantic partner, whoever this is where you find your happy place. Sometimes people are happy achieving their goals and that's enough for them. For you, it doesn't mean anything if you can't look over at the person you love and say, isn't this cool? I get to share this with you. And vice versa, you seeing them succeed. So again, you really have that mastered, the selfless, loving quality down. So you're definitely responsible. You definitely care. And there for sure is a very strong, humbled quality about you. But you're so humble that how do I say this? Sometimes people don't speak up for themselves because they think it's egotistical to be confident. But then at the same notion, they're not saying anything because they're hoping someone will notice. Not you. You don't even care. You're just moving forward in life. You're on a path. Everyone else is just flying past you. You know what I'm saying? Now here's where we get that ascension concept getting brought up again and more kind of expanded upon and explained. With the Four of Cups, I can tell that in the beginning of your life, and you might potentially still be in that stage. I do want to point out I'm being told about something in particular that's going to be standing out to you. But this is kind of the beginning stage in your life. You're just kind of bored. You're fine. You've got everything you need for the most part, but you just easily get bored. And I don't want to say bored as in then you bounce around from thing to thing and you can come across as like flaky. Not at all. That's not you at all. It's just you haven't found a lot of deep satisfaction with any, whether this be partners or a hobby you enjoy or, there's just a general sense of like, nothing's really doing it for me. And I think you have notions of being aware that there's like a muted feeling you're experiencing most of the time. Now, this is where you start to shift dramatically, 180. And if this hasn't happened yet, I'm telling you right now, we're getting a little bit of like predictive stuff in here. It looks like you go from feeling all of the objects around you have no meaning, you've seen them every day, they don't really, touch your heart. And then it seems like, from what Spirit's telling me, you start to notice an object in particular and start to fathom past what you just see. This is like understanding how many people worked hard to make it come into existence, understanding where the material came from, starting to understand the significance. Maybe it pops up as a synchronicity and you see it's come somewhere else, and the chase of looking for the synchronicity and seeing that the world is not just face value starts to open you up. You start to find passion in the search. Now over here is the Sun card. This is your ascension. This is where you're going. This is something important to notice though. People can experience this form of enlightenment, this inner happiness in a multitude of ways. Fun fact, there's no like set goal or plan for anybody, you know what I mean? Like, or not set goal or plan, I meant like destination, the way you get there. There's no set, like everyone's got to follow the same path. Trust me, you should hear some of the wild stories. Some people have experienced enlightenment sweeping up in their temple. It's crazy. But for you, it looks like the more you dive inwards and kind of go in deeper and asking yourself the question of like, how do you work? How can you improve that? What does that mean? How does that connect others? It's like the deeper you go inside yourself, the more your world expands, which is so interesting. I find when I've had like crazy moments, when I'll talk about my Kundalini experience in a video if you ever want. That was really cool. But I found when I've had moments of like great awareness, it's when I fathom the duality of life. So it's like by you fathoming what is going on internally inside you and seeing how much that changes your awareness and consciousness outside you, and you understand both concepts at the same time, there's a bit of a brain explosion, epiphany situation going on, which is amazing. And I'm very excited and happy for you. Definitely, I see you living the rest of your life as you start to dive into this exploration. Just really kind of only looking for mellowness. You're only interested in your definite, you don't know it now, but your long-term motivation that's going to kind of unwrap itself, unveil itself, is when you just find there's nothing else more important than inner peace. That's the best way I can put it. There you go. Now, the start card talks about this. This is one of the big things that tipped me off for sure that this was like an ascension thing. This pops up when we're on like our path in life, when it's kind of like a thumbs up of like, yep, you're doing everything great. This shows that as you do anything in life, even when you feel lost, that's like your destiny. You are just like, before your life even began, this was meant to be, if that makes sense. And you're doing a great job. This is a thumbs up that you're doing a great job. But it points out your intuitiveness. It points out your the self-realization that you seek, you enjoy to have in order to have this and what you will be going through in this lifetime. It does talk about your originality. You can't... If we all knew the secrets of how to get here, well, then we'd all be getting there. You have to think outside the box, and you have a tendency to do so, and I think that's really beautiful. This talks about hope, positivity, but a big thing I want to point out is it talks about when something good has happened, like positive motion, and keeping that moving forward. So this points to, you've done everything you've needed to do in the past lifetimes. You're good to go. You're ready for the next level in life, so to speak. That's a huge reason why this is like the positive motion forward. This is like how you think, how you move forward with your responsibilities. But it's also this feeling of like, okay, we got to keep going, finish up anything else I got to finish up in order to like feel like I'm done in this lifetime and I can move on. So yeah, didn't realize that I was going to get this, and I love that. So like I said, you're motivated by love, feeling close to people. You're motivated by responsibility, a bigger picture, a greater purpose. You're motivated by hope, optimism, a goal, and seeking knowledge to better understand yourself in order to heighten your consciousness for good. So, pretty prolific. I'm pretty excited for you, as you can tell. If you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to give the video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out what are your hidden influences by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are 6 of Pentacles in reverse, the Devil in reverse, 3 of Pentacles upright, 4 of Pentacles in reverse, the Hermit in reverse. That's conflicting. What? Oh, and 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, well, you know what I always say, if it repeats, it's important. Okay, sorry, I was exclaiming because this makes sense and goes together, but this is like a totally conflicting idea, and this kind of gives the answer to everything. So let's talk about what I would define as basically your main driving hidden influence, your force, your drive, whatever. It can be depicted here in the Devil card in reverse. You love and live for freedom. You are all about having all the options. You like to be able to you don't want to be told what to do. You like to feel a sense of reaching out into the infinite, and there's no limit, and you can reach out however you want and flow the way you want to flow and all that good jazz. But the Devil card's pretty interesting. It talks about the idea of, yes, freedom, but you specifically love, in addition to freedom, the act of breaking free. Standing up and saying, I'm not going to take this anymore. I don't want to deal with this. The Devil in reverse is all about ending bad habits, freeing yourself from a bad habit, freeing yourself from a toxic relationship, whether that be friendship or otherwise. And there's something about the act of you saying, I'm not going to take this anymore. Don't limit me. Don't tell me what I can do. It's very cathartic for you. You live for it. Now, I do want to point out something really interesting here, because there can be in other situations this can be kind of like a negative thing. It's almost like always chasing the high, so to speak. When people, this could be almost borderline problematic, if that makes sense, in any other situation. But for you, it's different. You don't on purpose put yourself in situations in order to then break free. Like, you're not always striving to cage yourself in order to then break free and kind of be in this, like, again, like a toxic cycle or whatever like that. Not at all, not at all. It's more that when these moments do happen, and we'll get to why in a second, they will happen often in your life, that you inspire others. It totally fills you with this sense of passion and gives you like a focus and deep appreciation for when right after you feel free and happy. It is a strong motivator that leaks into other sort of feelings and appreciation and gratitude and happiness and inner happiness and inner empathy for others that in that small moment affects so much. That's the best way I want to put it. Now, you'll start to notice as we talk about the rest of the cards, you have a tendency, I don't know if you're fully aware of this. This is a general reading. I think there's a good bulk of you that do, but I want to point this out for the ones that aren't aware. You will do this the rest of your life. This is not a bad thing. I don't want to freak you out. This is fine. You are meant to do this. I want to keep this in mind. You have a tendency to be the one to put yourself into difficult situations. Again, you're not doing it for this drive we talked about, and you're not doing it out of self-sabotage. Not at all. It's a totally healthy explanation. In the Three of Pentacles, you have a love for being in groups at times in your life. Sometimes it's fun to do what everyone else is doing. But with the Three of Pentacles, this goes beyond just being social. This is when you're working in a group with you. This could be like college class, like learning a skill with other people in any sort of type of class. This is about bonding in a work type of environment where you're all working towards some sort of goal, but you're also kind of getting to know one another. It's something that is about bonding, but also growing at the same time. And you love that. You're all about that. And you get a lot from it. And I will point out that it's something you need to experience throughout your life, because you, in your core heart, are meant to be more independent. But there are going to be times in your life when you need to be a part of the group in order to learn something. And then the second you start to feel defined by it, the second someone starts to say, you need to explain yourself to me or put up obstacles or limits, you're out of there. And that's a good thing. Get out of there. You are not meant to be there. You are definitely way more original and unique and not meant to be tied down at all. You're doing your own thing. You just kind of dip into the social pond every now and then you dip back out. And that's what I'm talking about when I say it's not self-sabotaging. You don't chase this on purpose, but you're always re-inspired of why you love what you love and do what you do, and you inspire others. You help others in that regard, but let's go into the way that you can accidentally cage yourself in, because not meaning to, but just sometimes you're going to need to put yourself in a position and you naturally can feel more caged because you don't want, I mean, it's so easy for people to say, explain yourself to me, if that makes sense. So over here in the Six of Pentacles in reverse, this talks about your extreme selflessness. You are self-sacrificing, generous. You have a tendency to find a lot of happiness giving your all to someone when you feel they are worth giving your all to. This could be in the form of physical gifts, time, emotions. If they're having a tough time and you're having a tough time, your emotions go on the back burners, theirs goes first. And that is a beautiful, wonderful nature. I do want to point that out. But it can easily attract, unfortunately, people who would be described as leeches. This goes for both romantic and friendship. And when they see that you're that type of person, oh, they know it. They're taking advantage of it. Don't let them squash out such a beautiful trait, because there's somebody else out there that wants to also give back to you just as much, and then you guys can drown in a beautiful amount of gifts and kindness. This is a good thing. But when we give ourselves so much to people, we feel like we're then, like that's all we can do. We can't walk away from them because we'd feel bad. We can't help but love them, but we start to feel like we're almost chained by our own obligations we created for ourselves. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying it's very easy for you to feel, caged in because of some other positive traits. Doesn't mean you need to stop these positive traits, but it gives a bit of understanding of like what's going on and why you feel that up and down motion in between those things. It's natural. Three of Pentacles, we talked about the whole giving nature with work and social and building ideas and feeling like closed together. But with the Devil card being right next to it, it shows you wanting to break free from that often. Now, the Four of Pentacles in reverse shows that, yes, groups have a tendency to you tend to join groups and want to be social and whatever because they kind of catch you right as you're most vulnerable. With the Hermit card, this talks about the idea of you being isolated, self-analyzing, better understanding your environment. You're very smart. You always are building from what you've learned in the past is the main reason why you're more alone than you're social. You're more alone than you're social. But the Hermit card shows that once you feel that, you've had some time period alone and you're like, okay, I better understand myself or the past situation I'm in, and you take that analysis and then you move forward and you go and be social with other people and use that to your advantage or whatever, called being a human. This is when you are in the Four of Pentacles zone. You're feeling open. You haven't had to explain yourself in so long, so it comes to you more freely. You're excited to share that with others. Others are excited to receive it and experience it. You kind of teach others to be happy and more open. But the thing that makes the Three of Pentacles in reverse, which is when it's not great, things aren't working, especially in a group, especially at work. The reason why you'll pull away, dip out, go back into isolation again is people can't, unfortunately, handle all the time too much of a good thing. Not that you're too much of a good thing and that they can't handle you. It's like the more they care about you, the more they want to hold you and cage you because it goes from excitement and admiration to a borderline obsession and possession. And, well, you will have none of that. So that's why you always kind of get pulled back in, you're giving too much, and then you're like, nope, I will not take this anymore, and then you go and separate yourself from the group like the Hermit is leaving the group over here. So it's kind of an interesting cycle, but it's not one that needs to necessarily be broken. Like I said, this isn't a self-destructive behavior. This is only positive. This is all about you needing to be at the right place and experience the right emotion at the right time, and you just kind of bounce back and forth. Think of this back and forth motion from isolation to being in a group and then feeling negative about it, then feeling more positive again, coming back to the group as a wave. And you're just riding the waves. And there are no downs. That's the beautiful part. Even the down of you having to tell people off and be like, I'm setting, get away from me, you know what I mean? That's not a down. That's an empowering thing for you. So enjoy the ride. If you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe on this video. It helps out this video like you would not believe. Either way, have a beautiful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Let's find out what are your hidden influences by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are Page of Pentacles upright, 9 of Wands upright, Page of Swords upright, King of Swords upright. Wow. Death card in reverse, and your last cards, wow, right next to each other. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. These two cards are almost like the inner workings, the mindset of the King of Swords over here. This is so interesting. And look at this progression. Okay, so this is all positive wows, by the way. I'm just remarking to myself everything I'm seeing and trying to organize it in my head. So I can tell you right off the bat, you are very, very, very smart, and you have an exceptionally high perseverance level. But there are certain traits that I see popping up here that I wouldn't necessarily define as bad, but they're definitely food for thought, because there's some sort of like thing that you're fighting out, and we'll get more into this as we go over these two cards, that if you ever feel conflicted, we can go into why that is. It's not bad at all. It's just something to better understand yourself. So let's start over here with the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is so charming. This is somebody who wants to seek self-improvement by gaining some sort of a skill. This is somebody who loves learning, loves taking on new skills, like I said before, especially with the King of Swords. This is somebody who's like, finds a lot of joy in going out and learning things in order to add that to their arsenal of like traits that define them, and they like understanding how the world works in that kind of way. There's just like a general happiness around learning and intelligence. It's new, it's empowering, and it is a feeling of security to know, looking in towards the future, whatever the future brings, you can rely on what you know. There's like a practical element of this security and intelligence. And the King of Swords talks about somebody who's like a master of whatever they know. They tend to limit themselves more. They're not like a jack of, what is the term? Jack of many, master of none. You know what I'm talking about? This is somebody who picks one or two things and they're very good at it. So don't be surprised your passions might be a little more limited. And that's a good thing. You're going to get really good at them. People are going to rely on you for it. You like that feeling of people relying on you. And we're going to go into, I wouldn't describe you as a blatant leader, but you have some characteristics that can really benefit others from them being around you. But let's get into this. So anyway, so one of your influences is you love learning for all the reasons we talked about before. The security, the excitement, the passion behind it, understanding how the world works, broadening your mind, all that good stuff. And then it starts to take kind of an interesting, like a totally different turn. Over here with the Nine of Wands, Page of Swords, and the King of Swords, all of these talk about your sort of, your ability to keep persevering no matter what you've been through, as well as generally speaking about your toughness when it comes to standing up for yourself, standing up for others, standing up for what you believe in. There is a resilience and a bravery and an authenticity to you. And I think that's a huge reason why you like to do it. You not any to be perceived that way. That's how you naturally are, but that's what's important to you, and that's why you then, do these various things. So the Nine of Wands talks about, again, like I said, somebody who's just been through a lot. It's like no matter what you throw at them, or in your case, it's not a reason for you to stop pursuing your goal. There is something about this. Now, it doesn't mean, I want to make this clear, this does not mean you attract a lot of obstacles in your life. It just means that in life, all of us experience them. And as you've gone through them, it makes you that much more dedicated to your cause, if that makes sense. You almost have a certain admiration for yourself, and others have an admiration for you when you prove to yourself you can stick it out no matter what. Really beautiful, and that continues on over here in the Page of Swords. This is somebody who is like, standing up for others. They're generally positive when it comes to motivating others and being like, we can do this. Don't worry, we've got this. They usually have they don't take on other people's more negative perspectives, and maybe they see all the obstacles, they see all the ways it can't work out. And there's a certain mindset where you raise your head above all of that. I can see that you just generally feel an excitement for inspiring others, inspiring yourself, and above anything, you like to see things through. Now, with the King of Swords popping up, this is somebody who is extremely intelligent, like we talked about before, not only for their skill levels, and we talked about how you like knowing people can believe that you'll follow through with something, they can trust in you, that type of concept. But this is somebody who's able to see the bigger picture as a whole. They can have a bird's eye perspective on what's going on, and they're able to respond to situations very fast, very quickly. They're extremely smart. And this intelligence paired with this positive outlook, paired with this kind of like never-ending endurance. I mean, you're just kind of a force to be reckoned with. That, with some actual like great skills you're not afraid to dedicate yourself to and learn and master. Yeah, you can kind of see where I'm going here. It's really interesting. So you're definitely driven by both the journey itself, so to speak, of like you like proving these things to yourself. You like the journey as well as the end result of actually having mastered the skill, actually having won the war, so to speak, and things like that. But you love having that in-between feeling to be able to look back on, if that makes sense. But over here, this almost acts as a sort of understanding of your more, we could define these as borderline stubborn qualities. I would not describe you as stubborn. Stubborn can be used as a negative trait. This is not negative here, but you don't have a problem standing your ground and kind of being like, I'm not moving, I'm not changing, because of your fear of change. This is why I was interested in this conflicting statement, because yes, the Wheel of Fortune can also talk about a resistance of change as well, but the Death card just full on says this is somebody who's afraid. They feel like they need to keep going back to the past. They need to keep going back to old people they knew. They're afraid of this big thing that's going to uproot their life. And not in a tower moment like anything negative, just like sometimes we feel that sense of something's going to change, and it can be even for the better, and then suddenly a deep fear sets in, a deep sadness, and we want to go back to what we're familiar with. And yet, the Wheel of Fortune is an opposing concept. It talks about breaking cycles, changing, going towards change. It's a good thing, if that makes sense. And so it almost feels like there's a part of you that's extremely brave, and you're always proving to yourself that you're brave. And trust me, you are. For the reasons we spoke about before, all the things you can, like I keep saying, prove to yourself. Give yourself examples of like, yeah, I can do anything. But then, weirdly, to your core, there's just something when the moment is really important where you kind of freeze up. Now, I think that you're definitely meant to, in this lifetime, change that and fix that and understand that. But weirdly enough, that fear of change is what helps motivate you to keep sticking to something and following all the way through. So there's like a benefit to this. It's not necessarily negative, but it's not going to stay that way forever. So when we have someone like you that's just such an undeniable force to be reckoned with for a multitude of reasons, and then you remove that last final thing that can hold them back every now and then, I'm just telling you right now, find someone who can handle how epic you are, because I don't want to say handle, because obviously you're not like rough to deal with, but they have to be confident with themselves to handle it and kind of be down for the ride, and also be into skill learning, and also be down with sticking up for other people and you know, taking the long road, so to speak, because yeah, that is your comfort zone. And I love it. I love it so much. So I'm excited for you. If you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to give the video a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I'll see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 5. Group number 5. Let's find out, what are your hidden influences by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are Ace of Cups in reverse, the Star card upright, the Magician card upright, Four of Wands in reverse, Queen of Wands upright, and your final card is Two of Swords in reverse. By the way, these are some pretty stellar cards to get, and this is my OG favorite Queen of Wands. Is she not? Doesn't she just look so cool? She looks like a true Queen of Wands. We have these cards, and they are extremely powerful, super magical. We're going to go into them. These are amazing cards to get. But then we have these opposing cards that almost are like the flip side. It's like, this is confidence. This is somebody dealing with confidence issues. You know what? I know what's going on. I know what's going on. This is who you're meant to be. This is who you're going to be. This is what you're striving for. Don't worry, I want to give you some reassurance that as we go into these traits, you are going to fulfill them, become them, embody them fully in this lifetime, and very soon if you want. That time is an illusion. It can happen whenever you want. But these are the things that hold you back, the things that you are actively aware of and trying to work with. But here's the thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're all bad. There's just a different perspective I want to give you on them, because they're not something that you need to dislike about yourself. So let's talk about the good and what you are meant to be. This is just like, all of these cards feel like the beginning, the journey, the end, so to speak, of this type of personality. This is somebody who is always striving for a better understanding of themselves, the world around them. We're talking about like magical stuff though. We're talking about higher consciousness, understanding that everything is made up of the same molecules that's in another object, so we're all one. Fully being in charge of themselves with confidence, feeling like they know everything because they're okay with not knowing everything, understanding the duality in life, feeling like you're on your path, your purpose. There's a magnetic quality about you. There's a likable quality about you. As you talk about it more and more, synchronicities follow you over and over again, and you just seem to manifest and attract the love of your life and get your dream job, and you're just in this flow, and people admire you, and there's something otherworldly about you. It's like people can sense that you're living their dream life that not everyone is born in this lifetime is going to experience. Everybody has a purpose, but there's something otherworldly about yours that people can't fake. It's just naturally in you. You were meant to experience it. You're going to experience it. It's all good. Over here in the star card, this is like happiness, optimism, but it does include unexpected change. And we're going to get into that in a moment with the Two of Swords. This is not unexpected change like the Tower. This is like just something pops up and you kind of go with it. You're going with the flow. And you're just kind of like, okay, now we're here. Now we're over here. It's kind of like, do you know when you have those magical days where you're hanging out with a friend or something, and then you walk into a shop, and then you have an interesting conversation, and then someone calls you and you go to hang out with them, and before you know it, the whole day that wasn't even planned in front of you just felt like this wonderful big memory that, you know, unfolded in front of itself kind of thing. But in addition to this, this is probably most singularly known as like the path or destiny card. It's like the thumbs up of like you're doing everything right and you're following it. Now be clear, everybody's got a path, everyone's got a purpose, but not everyone fulfills it. And like I said, yours feels a lot more magical when we got the Magician card. This is somebody who is beginning and then follows through with an idea they would like to see come into existence. Same thing with Queen of Wands. So this is definitely a compliment to anybody, if anything you want to get done, like a project or a concept you want to bring into reality. But this is not so much like Wands, where Wands are all about like ideas and projects. The Magician is saying that you have everything you need right now. No more, no less. We're talking about resources. We're talking about the connection to yourself, the connection to the universe, the connection you have to the things around you. This is a multitude and very complex amount of things all working in your favor. This gives you the compliments that if you reach out there and you ask for it, you shall receive. This is somebody who's all-knowing, they're in the flow of it, like we talked about, the higher consciousness, the whatever. This is what you're striving for, and I do want to make it clear that as spiritual as this sounds, and it can be spiritual if you want it to be, I have met many people like this that spirituality is not even on their mind, but they're living this sort of mantra and mentality naturally as they're going around things. You know, this is definitely the main character in any book or the main character's love interest, and there's just something so remarkable about them. That's you. This is who you're meant to be. This is who you're going to be. And you're also like the modern day main character's love interest, who the love interest says, you suck, go away, I'm doing my thing. I'm not saying you're like that. I'm just saying you're pretty cool. Queen of Wands, also somebody who has ideas and knows how to get things done. Really strong likability factor. This is somebody, one thing I love about her and other people love about her is she'll have like a goal, right? And she's like, I want this thing to happen. And she's a leader and she'll say, everybody, this is the thing we want to have happen. But if she sees it's not getting done fast enough or properly, she'll dive in there herself and do it herself. So there's experience, but there's also the ability she has right now. So she's got the energy, she's got the ideas, and she's got the confidence and drive. And above anything, she just has this sort of energy that kind of permeates in everything she does. So therefore, she has a very strong likability factor. She's also pretty hot, so who doesn't want that? So like I said, really strong, vivacious vibes that are connected to the universe and the flow of life and time and space, and very magical. Compliment train. But then we have this. The Ace of Cups and even the Four of Wands in reverse both talk about an idea of closing yourself off emotionally from people. Not letting people in. Maybe even being a little selfish, which is not necessarily a bad thing, and we'll go into that why in a moment. But this closing yourself off emotionally closes yourself off from all the things you need to let into your life, all the things you need to experience, following your path, so on and so forth. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like you're trying to overcome that in order to do this. Four of Wands talks about the same concept, but it also talks about the idea of somebody struggling to accept what is and what they have. So this is when somebody is trying to love you or you're trying to love them and they're making it difficult. They're being combative, they're putting you in a spot, And this is just, again, a safety thing. You protect yourself, you close yourself off, and you're just struggling to be like, I can't. And the Two of Swords, this is somebody unmoving. They've made their decision. This can be borderline stubborn. These things are all defensive traits of someone protecting themselves. Usually, when people protect themselves, they are deeply emotionally open and capable of experience intense levels of understanding, depth, and like I said before, emotions. And sometimes we build up these walls because our body is naturally going, whoa, 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 that's a lot, protect, protect, protect. But I know you're overcoming this. I know you're pushing through this, and not all of this is a negative thing. Let's go over real quickly how these things can actually benefit you and guide you towards this person you're meant to be. See, the Ace of Cups talks about a sense of closing off, like we said. But it is also water, and the water does flow into the star. They're benefiting each other. Understand that sometimes it's a good time to be selfish or close yourself off from people. It's okay to put yourself first in your own life and understand when you have something that you're able to give and when you're not. Or when you feel that person isn't deserving of it. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Consider that a tactic for boundaries. Don't let it cut you off from everybody and everything and every experience. But it's okay, pardon me, to rely on it. And, you know, it's not a bad thing to say, hey, I don't trust this situation. Closed off. You're not welcomed in. You know what I mean? But at the same note, while it's okay to set boundaries, this is challenging and asking you to still reach out and find in your heart a way of loving others and loving and finding optimism, like the Star card. This is somebody who finds optimism. Now, find optimism despite how difficult it is, despite the circumstances. Understand this is a challenge you're being put through, and that take it. Take that challenge. I can see that you're doing it. I can see you're trying. It's a back and forth process of going, I don't know, should I protect myself? I don't know, is it worth it? The thing is, people who are optimistic, it's always this weird belief by others, and I speak from my own personal experience. People just think like you're optimistic because you're unaware of how the world works or situations. Some of the most optimistic people have experienced the most horrible things, and yet they make an active choice despite everything in their being wanting to be more negative. Understand that it's okay to want and hope for more and believe in the best, but also understand simultaneously that somebody's making it difficult for you, and maybe they don't necessarily believe it, but you're kind of seeing the greater good and doing it more for you than them, if that makes sense. And finally, the Two of Swords with the stubbornness. See, the thing is, Queen of Wands, she's always in motion. She's always fighting. She's always a momentum forward. Same thing with the Magician. An idea that blooms and gets followed through. The Star card, a path, always flowing, always moving forward, always changing, a go with the flow type of vibe. This is something that you'll have to open yourself up more to, but it is not necessarily a negative thing when you know when it's the right time to stand up for what you believe in. Being the Magician is somebody who is simultaneously able to go with the flow, but also to be grounded enough to know when to say when, and so on and so forth. Allow the other in so there's a balance, but this is not a bad thing. So overall, I'm very excited for you. It's a very exciting time, very magical, very wondrous, but don't beat yourself up. There's a lot of good here and a lot of good reasons why things are happening. I can see you're fighting through it, and I can see this is what you're secretly striving for when you want to push these traits down, or when you want to get rid of them, or you want to overcome them. That is your drive. It's in you, and you were meant to have it and become it. So I'm very excited for you. Anyways, if you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!